Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about, a recent experience I had at one of the awesome Kroger's, and it's located in Nashville. It's the one that is on 2284 Murfreesboro Road in Nashville, Tennessee. And this happened on May 3rd, 2024. It was around 12:45 p.m. And I may be talking about some other things that I've experienced at this awesome Kroger store. But I wanted to first get on as far as something that happened recently. And this just, it's just been a lot of negative experiences there, being scrutinized there for no reason, employees just following you all over the place when it's not necessary. But what I want to state is, on that time, on May 3rd, 2024, about 12:45 p.m., okay, what happened was, okay, I entered the Kroger there, and, I do what I usually do. I leave my bag, where I'm supposed to. I follow, their protocol. I've seen myself as a very good customer for many years there. What happens is I enter, I guess you call it the vestibule area where the shopping carts are located, and I was struggling, trying to pull the shopping carts, to get a shopping cart out. It was like stuck in, they were all stuck in each other like super glue, at least the ones I was attempting to pull out. And it took, I tried about two or three different shopping carts and I had no success. And I don't remember whether I had actually just found one that was isolated, that wasn't inside another shopping cart, or I just managed to pull one out. But however I did it, I did eventually, of course, get one pulled out. And I saw a Kroger employee, and there was a security guard positioned by him. They were both, laughing at me. I knew it was me because I was the only one in their line of vision, and they were looking dead at me. And I said to them, I turned around and said, "What are you guys looking in an invisible mirror or something?" You know, the thing about what people have to remember is, I mean, this is like really paramount, I would say, when you're a customer. I mean, it's not even just about respecting the customer. It's having an idea, understanding that you don't know what that customer is going through prior to entering the establishment. Some people may be going through a lot of trials and tribulation, adversity. They could have lost a loved one. Maybe they lost their job. They could be facing homelessness. I've been homeless before. I've actually experienced it. There's a lot of people out there that are in impoverished situations, that are, in lower, facing a lower stature in life. My situation in my life, is not very good. I'm a little more even-tempered about things than the average person. I try to take things with a grain of salt. Sometimes you gotta take things, take it from the source where it's coming from, where there's ignorance that's, emanating from somebody, and you just have to kind of, just deal with it. Unfortunately, this case, I feel like, there has to be, some kind of, there has to be fairness in this. There has to be something where people are disciplined for this. They probably won't be, but the thing about this is, when somebody is a customer, say if it's a customer going through a bad situation in his or her life, what it actually reminds me of. I'll use an analogy with a car or vehicle as an example. Let's say somebody has a car that has some damage to it. It could be associated with, say, overheating, or a cracked head on a or cracked heads, in the vehicle, and then somebody does an erroneous or improper coolant flush on the car. They basically added insult to abject misery. They made the predicament worse than it was to begin with. And when you laugh at the customer, the ideal thing is, when you go into an establishment, you don't have to people don't have to be your best friend, but at least they can do is grant you respect. If you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, you don't say it at all. Laughing and mocking at a customer is not a good thing. And I even said to those people, after I made the statement, what are you looking in an invisible mirror or something? I said, all that time you were laughing at me, you could have come over and helped me and assisted me in pulling get one of the carts free. I didn't know. I mean, laughing at someone, is that part of the job criteria? That's why I try to tell people that there is very strong misconceptions about Nashville, Tennessee. There's a lot of people that think everybody is benevolent and kind, and that couldn't be further from the truth. You have, rude, abrasive people here, just like you have everywhere else. And I warn people, you want to come to Nashville, Tennessee, and you have this expectation that everybody is nice here and they're going to treat you fairly. You're going to be in for a very rude awakening. So it's something to keep in mind. And I've had a number of bad experiences at this place, and some of you may wonder, well, why am I going to the store if I've had a number of bad experiences? Sadly, I'm in a situation that's very limited in my life. Okay, I can't operate a motor vehicle. I have the mental faculties to, but I don't have the physical ability. I have extensive nerve damage to my arms, and which prohibits me from doing so. And it's a little bit rough for me. And the thing about this is, again, a lot of this does go to the fact that you really don't know what a person is going through, and you're just making things, exacerbating things on a human being if they're already going through some problems. I was even talking to someone else about this one day. I said, you know, yeah, the thing is, if I was in a good situation in my life, right? If I was affluent and prosperous, I didn't have any monetary worries. I had financial stability, and I felt like, I had more security in my residence. Say it probably wouldn't have bothered me much. But the point is, it's not something you're not supposed to be acting like that toward a customer. I even heard, and I know if they did this to me, I'm sure the thing you got to keep in mind too is I'm far from the only one that this was likely done to. They probably, heckled laughed at other customers before too, and whether it was reported or not, I don't know. I wish, Kroger would do, I think what Kroger does sadly in situations like this in many instances, they'll go over and they'll talk to the people, and they'll just, ask them politely, not to do this anymore. And the problem is when you just handle a situation by that and you're not more forceful about it, it just kind of gives these people more incentive and the impetus to keep doing those same things to other people, because if there's no disciplinary action, what can they do to actually learn from it and from what they've done to people? They need to understand that there has to be something, and I'm not saying somebody should be terminated over this. Some of you may think that what I'm doing is I'm overreacting maybe to some degree, or I'm enlarged, my mind is enlarging upon this in terms of the hurt that's involved with this. How I perceive, how negative or adverse this was. But I think it is still a negative thing, and this isn't the only bad experience I've had there. I mean, there's been a number of times when I've had employees practically crash into me, walk right into me, and they knew I was coming. They intercept me more times than, like a New York Jets football. The thing is, and I understand what that is. That's their little subtle way of letting me know I'm being monitored. And I'm thinking, why are you going to do that to somebody that's been a loyal and steadfast customer for like 20 years there, that has done nothing but pay for his items and leave the store peacefully? Why don't you cut the person a little more slack? And no one says anybody has to be my best friend there or anything, but at least respect me enough, to do, proper conduct, conduct yourself in the way you should. with me, and by respecting me, allowing me to get my grocery items in peace and then leave. A person that isn't doing anything but being himself shouldn't be monitored like he's some kind of robber or murderer unnecessarily. And it happens constantly, during these years that I've come to the store. Um, the thing is, too, I need to also find out about, where I need to voice the complaint. I mean, I've called the 800 number, before on similar matters, and it doesn't seem to really do a whole lot in terms of any resolution, to whatever's been to these things that have been going on to me at this wonderful Kroger store. So, I read somewhere online that, I may have, person may have to get in touch with like the district manager. And I'm saying this too to help other people out that may have had bad experiences there. I went on to, I believe it was the main Kroger page on Facebook, and somebody had said that made some claim that they were going through a similar situation as I was, that they were being, scrutinized and monitored unnecessarily there. And the ideal thing is when you come into a store, you're supposed to be made to feel more comfortable, not the antithesis, not be in a situation where you become apprehensive and nervous and uncomfortable. And that's going to push people out. I think if I didn't know any better, I think part of the reason that these employees do me the way they do there is because they figure, and they may know that I don't really have an overabundance of options in terms of what store to go to, given my situation, the fact that I'm limited in my transportation, and they capitalize on that. I really believe, at least in some of these people, that is why they act in the way they do toward me, because they know they can get away with it. And to me, I mean, it's utter nonsense. I mean, for me to have to endure what I've endured there all these years is preposterous. It doesn't even make any sense. It's almost like, why, there was one incident I can remember. It was maybe close to 2 years, might have been about a year and a half ago or so. And what happened was, I had entered the store. Well, actually, I was on my way to the store, and I know, big shocker, the security guy, darts out of the building as soon as I come into view. Now, in that time, I enter the store. There's another person in the store that winds up taking someone's pocketbook and runs out of the store while the security guard is not there. They say something about karma. How karma can go, right? They unnecessarily wanted to keep an eye on me, but in the process, they didn't have the person around that could have apprehended that other person that actually was committing a crime there. And that, to me, it kind of serves them right for that, because if they were actually monitoring the people that deserve to be monitored and not the people like me that have nothing but good intentions, they wouldn't have even been in that. They would have probably gotten that person, and that person wouldn't have been able to run off with that other man or woman's handbag or whatever it had been. So that's the what I wanted to get on this. So really, the thing is that, it's a lesson in life, when people act like this and they laugh at you or mock you, you can turn the other cheek. But the thing is, the person, sometimes they reach their point of endurance. And the thing which you got to understand is that everybody reacts to things in a different manner. Not everybody is going to be as nice as I am about things, and you might laugh or mock at the wrong person, and you don't know what's going to happen to you. So it's a thing out there, people. If you're you're working in a store and you're the kind of person that likes to joke and mock others and ridicule them, there's something you gotta keep in mind, because sometimes in some instances you may have to face strong repercussions for this. You might wind up getting into a volatile situation with the person, a physical confrontation as a result of that. Not everybody's just gonna kind of make a joke and laugh it off like me. There's other people out there that might take things even to a greater extent, to greater means than I would. So it's something to keep in mind. And people, if you're working in retail, Even if there's something about a customer you legitimately don't like, you still gotta, you still have to respect them, him or her. Laughing, ridiculing, mocking somebody is not a good thing. It just pushes people out the door in many cases. My case, I don't have much choice because, as I stated before, I don't drive. I have to, I go by bus, and this is one of the more convenient places for me to actually go shopping. So that's what I wanted to get at in this video. So anyway, people, this is Edwin Learnard, and until next time, stay well.